What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the interweb? Sorry about no face cam today. OBS keeps force closing, so it's making it really hard to record the webcam. But anyways, today we're talking about what would have happened had Jack not met Samos, and had they not gone back in time and found the portals and all that. So this was posted on Reddit, and a Reddit user said, "It's very complex to explain. First off, they would still be living in Haven City, since that is where Jack initially lived before being sent off to the past. To recap, he was sent to the past to train and grow in order to one day fight the Metalhead Leader. This probably meant going back to the future, since Samos was the only one who knew what the machine could do. Him and Jack went to the past together, but Jack was too young to remember. Therefore, they would have never been in the past to begin with. But then, how did they travel to the past in the first place? Well, one reason is they could have built it since Jack and Kiera rebuilt it in Jak 2. Though Kiera would never be there since she was born in the past. Another explanation is they could have found it in the same place as it was found in the past, Gol and Maya Citadel. So then, how can we explain the Metalhead's takeover of Sandover Village? Well, the machine would still be in Gol and Maya Citadel, and as time would go on, someone may eventually open the door and set up the machines themselves, thus allowing the Metalheads to come into the world, though we won't know where or when. And that is if Gol and Maya didn't flood the world with dark eco by then. Second, the Metalhead Leader core would have most likely taken over the city. Jack would still be too young to defeat him, but would he really have won? Near the end of Jak 2, when you encounter Crew at the weapons factory, he reveals his and the Baron's plan to hide their Piercer bomb with the precursor stone and their last shipment of eco. The Metalhead nest, the bomb would cause the precursor stone to crack open, killing off the Metalheads as well as everything else. Not really a win for either side. That is assuming the Baron finds the stone before the city gets taken over, since we all remember it was older Jack who found it in the first place. If the Baron does not find the stone in time, Core would inevitably take it over and destroy the whole city until he finds it, and he would have already won long before then. The only hope that they have is if they hide young Jack somewhere else, like in Spargus or a more remote area, so that he can grow up, train, and save the world. Now that's what this man says, which makes sense, but I feel like had none of that had happened, that young Jack would have stayed with Damas. I feel like the Underground would have found a way to get him to Spargus City, and when they got him to Spargus City, they would have hid him with Damas and everyone else. And I feel like Jack would have grown up a wastelander, because Sig was a spy for Spargus City, so Sig could have took young Jack back to Damas. Sig could have been the hero, Sig would have been the one that would have defeated Crew. So that would have made Crew a much bigger enemy, and it would have made Sig a much bigger hero in the games, because if young Jack hadn't have been sent back in time and became Big Jack by Jak 2, then Sig would have been the first person you play as, and it would have started in Haven City. It would not have taken you back in time. So the first Jak and Daxter would probably be Sig only, and there probably would not be a Daxter or a Kiera, since they were born in the past. And since they were born in the past, they would have had Jack all alone. And since they would never came into the future, Jack would have never been touched by Dark Eco. So Jack would have never been able to talk unless they had him touch Dark Eco by some weird way, or the monks gave him the Light Eco powers and he was able to talk. Who knows? So I think Jack would have grown up a wastelander, and he would have been a more powerful hero than he was by the time Jak 2 rolled around. And I think when Jak 2 would have came around with this alternate story, I think that Jack would have been able to defeat the Metalhead Leader a whole lot easier, a whole lot quicker. I feel like he would have been able to take the Baron down had the Baron been a thing, but I don't know if Baron would still even be alive. I feel like the Metalhead Leader would have taken over Haven City and been trying to destroy everything, and that Haven City would look a lot like it does in Jak 3, except a little bit more destroyed. And I think they would have destroyed the Metalhead Leader by the end of the second game, like they did in the real trilogy of the game. But I think by the time Jak 3 would have rolled around, that would have been essentially the exact same story, except instead of having Vigor as the bad guy, I think Torn may have ended up the bad guy, since Torn would have been much older. And I feel like also, if they had done that, then there would have been different female characters to replace Kiera and Tess, but there wasn't in the game that we know of. That there wasn't any children, since the Baron had kidnapped them all. So that would have been kind of hard to place where Jack and Daxter's love interest would have been. But like I said, it's like 1,000,001 different ways that Jack could have gone had they never went back in time. So let me know if you have a different way in the comments down below on how Jack could have ended up had they never went back in time. I do believe, real quick though, since I did say Jack and Daxter at the end, I do think Daxter would have somehow managed to be in the game. I feel like they would have put Daxter in the future still, since Jack would have had to have had a sidekick, since that was like Naughty Dog's thing back then. Daxter was the sidekick to Jack, the Mask was the sidekick to Crash, you know, that kind of stuff. So I feel like it would have worked pretty much kind of the same with Jack and Daxter. I don't know if Daxter would have always been an Ottsel this time around though, or if it would have accidentally happened again. But we would have just had to find out if they ever do this, you know. But I doubt they will. If they ever reboot the game, it'll probably be the exact same as before. But yeah, like I said, let me know in the comments down below what you think. Like, comment, subscribe if you have not already. My name is CRUZANDO, try not to die, and I'll see you in the next video.